Hey y'all, and welcome back to Sweet Pea and Peonies Designs. I'm Jennifer, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I made this Mother's Day inlay tumbler. This is for my mom for Mother's Day. I'm so excited to give it to her and to show y'all how I created it. All of the products that I use will be listed and linked in the description box below, so check those out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It lets me know that you're getting value out of the videos that I'm putting out, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. Let's go ahead and get started. We're starting out with a 20-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven. I've already sanded it, and now what I'm going to do is just place the tumbler on top of a piece of paper and trace along the bottom rim of this tumbler, because I want to figure out the halfway mark of my tumbler. One half is going to be glitter, the other half is going to be vinyl. So after I cut out this circle, I'm just putting it on top of my tumbler to make sure that my measurement is correct. Then I'm going to fold it in half and then place it back on the tumbler. And wherever my halfway mark is with this paper, I'm going to take a pencil and mark it on my tumbler on each side. That way I'll know the halfway mark of where I need to place my painter's tape. Because like I said, one half is going to be vinyl, the other half is going to be glitter. So you can see my little marks. I'm going to take a ruler and measure it to create like a straight line, so that way I can put another mark on the bottom of the tumbler for each side. I got this idea from Jessica Flynn with the little circle in one of her previous videos. I felt like that was the easiest way to do it. You could always get a measuring tape and literally measure it out and everything like that. I just felt like this was easier. So then I'm going to take my painter's tape, line it up with my top and bottom pencil marks on one side, lay that painter's tape down. As you can see, when I went to go put it on the bottom, it wasn't completely in the middle, so I just finagled the tape to cover the middle part of the tumbler. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, take my painter's tape, line it up with those two pencil marks, and lay the tape down. If I have any more exposed stainless steel in the section where I'm going to lay my vinyl and I don't want spray paint, just take some more painter's tape or wrap it in saran wrap, whatever you have by you. Just make sure the entire section is covered, because we don't want to get spray paint on it. Then I'm going to go ahead and spray paint the section that my stainless steel is showing and let that dry for 45 minutes. This was Harvest Grape from Rustoleum. So now that our spray paint is dried, I'm going to go ahead and add Mod Podge and some glitter to this, but I wanted to show y'all the vinyl. So here is the vinyl. I will have it linked in the description box below, but I just thought it was really pretty florals, and I'm really excited to use it. And I'm also going to use these two glitters from Peachy Olive Glitters. I'm going to mix them together in this little cup, and I just thought that they went really well. Now that our spray paint is dry, I'm going to go ahead and add the Mod Podge directly to the section we want to glitter. Use my paintbrush to spread it out, and when I feel like my paintbrush is dragging on the tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and add more Mod Podge until I completely coat this entire section with Mod Podge. As you can see at the top rim on the left-hand side, I do have some pooling, and we want to make sure that we don't have any pooling or large streaks of Mod Podge, because when we go to add our glitter, you will be able to see that through the glitter. So just make sure that you get a nice even coat, that the entire section is covered, but we do not have too much pooling or any streaks or pooling. Then after it's dry, I'm just going to go ahead and add my glitter, and if I run out, I can just simply take the glitter that's on the paper and apply it back to my little cup and keep coating my cup with glitter. I did not get the full coverage that I wanted in this first try, so I did let this Mod Podge dry for about an hour. Then I went in and tapped off the excess glitter and even used a chip brush to brush off any of the glitter that was not adhered. Then I added a second layer of Mod Podge and a second layer of glitter. Make sure you're brushing off the excess glitter, or your Mod Podge will get really like gunked up with all the loose glitter, and we really want a really nice, smooth, even finish of that glitter. So now we're moving into the part that I'm calling an inlay. Basically, I want to cut out a section of my vinyl so I can put glitter and then someone's name on top. So in Cricut Design Space, I am opening up the shapes feature. I grabbed a square and then I'm sizing it for the section of our tumbler that does not have glitter on it. For my tumbler, that was 4.875 by 7.875. So just measure that section and then put those measurements into Design Space, and your vinyl should fit into that section if you measured it correctly. Then I went ahead and opened up a text box, typed in the person's name. This is for my mother because it's her Mother's Day present, so don't y'all go tell her about this. It is a secret and a surprise. But I typed out her name, went and found a font that I liked. I believe I used Goldie Rainbow. I got it off of Creative Fabrica. And typed out her name. I realized it was all caps, so I went and fixed that because it didn't like the way it looked. And then just mess around with the spacing of your letters. If you feel like the letters are too close together, you can make them further apart, or if they're too far apart, you can make them closer together. That's kind of what I'm doing right here, is just playing around with it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and weld my letters together. If you don't weld them, then the machine will cut out those letters basically on top of each other. So that N would have like a little piece that goes up into the I, and it would cut that out instead of making it all seamless. So ignore that black spot right there. I was messing around with my offsets and I'm going to redo it. So basically I just clicked her name, clicked the offset in the buttons up at the top, and I created an offset of her name, because what I'm going to do is her name in the normal font is going to be gold, the pink section is going to be white, and then I'm going to go ahead and create another bigger offset from that, and that section is going to be black in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to make that section the glitter. So right now I clicked her name again, clicked offset, and I'm just messing around with the sizing because I want it to be big enough to have enough glitter but not huge where you lose the shape of her name. So I'm messing around with the sizing. It looks like it was 0.275, and I'm applying that and I'm seeing, okay, do I like that? Is that going to work for me? And I decided that I did like that. This works. So then I'm going to hide her name and the offset. That's the pink offset. And I'm going to go ahead and slice this into our rectangle. I rotated it 270 degrees so that way the name was vertical. And then I am going to center it, make sure it's all center. And then I'm going to select the rectangle and the offset. And in the lower right-hand corner, you're going to slice it. So this is literally just going to cut out that shape in our vinyl. So when we cut out our vinyl, that shape's gone. I hope I'm making sense. Then I just want to see what it's going to look like. So I turned the offset 270 degrees as well, and the same thing with her name. And then I laid it on top just to see and make sure that I'm going to like the way it looks before I go ahead and cut out this vinyl. So basically that's what it's going to look like. The section that's white is going to be the glitter that we used previously in the video. The pink offset is going to be white vinyl, and her name that is gray is going to be a textured gold vinyl. Obviously, y'all will see what I'm talking about when I continue the rest of the video. Then I just cut out my vinyl, and the next step is to lay it on our tumbler. So here we are laying it on our tumbler. I had some issues with this, I'm going to be honest. I did have to cut this twice because when I laid the vinyl down the first time, it was crooked. So as you can see, I've kind of taped it to my tumbler so that way I don't have any issues with it not being straight. I'm using a chip brush just to make sure I don't have any glitter on my tumbler, because if I have glitter on my tumbler and then I lay the vinyl on top, you will have lumps and bumps because that glitter will be pressed onto that vinyl. So I'm just going to remove about an inch or so, half an inch, whatever that is, of backing, cut it off, and then I'm going to lay that vinyl onto our tumbler. we're gonna brush it again, y'all, because I have some serious problems with some glitter getting under my vinyl. Like, it's a real thing. So then I'm just gonna lay it on there, make sure it's pressed down well, and then we're gonna flip the tumbler over and take all of my safety tape off so it wouldn't move, because I only bought one print of this vinyl. So if this didn't work, we were done for. This cup wasn't gonna happen. So I was extra careful this time. So then I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the backing off of the vinyl. At this point, I wanna make sure that my vinyl is going to like meet up with my glitter. And once I'm sure of that, I'm gonna go ahead and take that tape off and remove the backing like you would normally lay down any kind of vinyl on top of your tumbler. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. I'm just making extra sure, y'all, that this is gonna line up right. So I'm kind of releasing a little bit of the backing, making sure there's no glitter on the tumbler or on the backing of your vinyl, because if it's stuck there, then it could get stuck on your tumbler as well. After I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the backing by laying down this vinyl on the tumbler. And I'm just using a little squeegee tool, very carefully laying it down, making sure I'm not doing it too quickly, and making sure everything is lining up as I'm doing this. If you have any little air bubbles in your vinyl, it's fine. You can pop them with your craft knife. Then I'm gonna take my squeegee and just really press down that vinyl up against my glitter line to make sure that it's laying right. This is also gonna give me a really good guide when I go to cut the extra vinyl that's up against that glitter with my craft knife. Once I'm done with that and it's laid really well on there, I'm gonna go ahead and take the transfer tape off, being very careful that I don't rip this up. As you can see, I'm not pulling up with my transfer tape, I'm kind of pulling back, because if you pull up too much, you could run the risk of pulling that vinyl and ripping it. I have done that before on a different project, so just be careful with that. And I'm just making sure that everything's laid down well, it's straight, and everything like that before I go ahead and cut it with my craft knife. So I'm just gonna put my craft knife up against that glitter line that we've created and just run it across there. That way, whatever excess vinyl is kind of hanging over that glitter, we can get it off. We are gonna cover the section where the vinyl meets the glitter with some gold lines, so it doesn't have to be perfect. If I have a little bit of stainless steel showing, that's fine. We're gonna cover it with those gold lines. But I do wanna take the excess of vinyl off because I don't wanna have to cover that with my epoxy. We just kind of wanna create a nice clean line so we don't have any trouble when we go to epoxy this tumbler. So I do the same thing on the other side, cutting off the extra vinyl and making a nice clean line. And here it is. I think it's so pretty. Now we're gonna go ahead and base paint this section for glittering. As you can see, I already added one layer. To be truthful, I thought that this first layer of paint and Mod Podge, because I did mix some acrylic paint into my Mod Podge, I thought that one layer would do it, but I didn't feel confident adding my glitter on top of that layer because I was afraid you'd be able to see some of that stainless steel shining through. So I went in with a second layer of paint and Mod Podge and just base painted it again. You do need to move kind of quickly with this because your paint and Mod Podge will start drying. You'll see a little bit later that I have to go back over the sections that I started with and put some more paint and Mod Podge because it was already starting to dry and I knew my glitter would not stick to it because it was not wet enough. So I'm just going around being careful that I stay within these lines. I am going to put some like a gold outline around this. So if I get a little bit of paint and glitter outside of these lines, it's not a huge deal, but I don't want to get too much out of there because I don't want a very thick outline of that gold vinyl that we're going to add later. So as you can see, I am starting to have to go over it again. You can kind of see sections that are starting to dry. So like I said right there, I had to go over it again. But I moved quickly and it was fine. Just move quickly. You can always wipe off some of the paint and Mod Podge mixture if you get it outside of the lines. I find using like a baby wipe helps, works really well. And then after that, I just went in with my glitter. So the same glitter that I used on the other side, I just went in with it, and I did feel like I needed a second coat of this as well. So I let that dry for about 45 minutes to an hour and used a chip brush, got any of the extra glitter off, and went in with a second layer of Mod Podge and glitter. After that was dry, I went in with 2 coats back to back of Alumilite's Quick Coat, letting them dry in between each coat. So like I just said, I'm going to outline where the glitter and the vinyl meet with some gold vinyl. I didn't think about doing this originally, so we're doing it now. The little section that we had sliced out of our big rectangle, I'm going to go ahead and do an offset of that. I believe it was 0.275. Then once the offset's created and we have the lighter gray on top of it, we're going to slice those two together, and that's going to create a very thin outline of our shape that we had cut out of our vinyl. Then I am just going to go ahead and cut our name, the outline, the offsets, all of that, and here we are doing that. So we have our gold vinyl with the outline that we just did. I tried to use some parchment paper. I think people use contact paper. I'm not sure. This didn't really work for me, but this is how I tried it. I'm trying to make sure that I line everything up straight, and that when I put this vinyl on there, I have it on like following the shape, so that way I don't have any glitter shining through past the gold section of vinyl that we're applying. If you do, you can always take your craft knife and kind of lift it up and finagle it until it is covering the entire thing, if that happens. Next, we're going to apply the white offset, making sure that that's in the middle of the glitter. And once I feel like it is placed properly, I'm going to go ahead and apply that as well and remove the transfer tape. After that, we're going to move into the name in gold, and again making sure that I'm getting this in the middle of the white vinyl. And once I feel comfortable with where it is gonna sit, I'm going to again apply that, press down with some good pressure to make sure everything is adhered correctly, and then I will slowly remove that transfer tape. So after this, we're going to go in with our vinyl lines where the vinyl meets the glitter, and then I also decided that I wanted to put a vinyl line at the bottom to just give the bottom of the tumbler a nice seamless finish, so you're not seeing like the edge of the vinyl and then stainless steel, or the edge of the glitter and then stainless steel. So I went ahead and cut a strip and applied it to the vinyl, the bottom of the tumbler. I will have the measurements for these in the description box because I really don't remember what they were. I don't know why. I can never remember the measurements of these lines. So I'm just applying this, and then I'm going to cut the excess off with my craft knife where the end of the vinyl meets the part that's overlapping. As you can see, I'm kind of using my fingernail to really press that down so I can see that line really good. Then I'm going to go ahead with my vinyl strips where the glitter meets the vinyl and do the same thing. Just lay it down nice, and then take my craft knife and cut the extra off where the two pieces of vinyl meet at the bottom. And then at the top, I will cut off where the vinyl kind of is even with the vinyl, the floral vinyl and the glitter at the top. Then I'm doing the other side as well. I will say I did not seal this with anything like Quick Coat, and I really wish I would have, because I had some trouble with the vinyl lines at the top of the tumbler not laying down flat and them poking through my epoxy layers. So I definitely would seal this with a layer of Quick Coat if I were to do this again. Then I went in with a layer of Alumilite's Quick Coat, let that dry, and then I sanded my top and bottom rims. And this is my final coat of Alumilite's Amazing Plus formula. I let this dry for at least 24 hours, and then I moved in to the next step, which is something I've never done before, and I'm really excited to show y'all this. I've been looking into rhinestoning tumblers, and they do glitter butts. I believe it's Maureen Jenkins with Bling on the Chaos that first started this. She does have a YouTube channel and does amazing rhinestoning work, so check her out. What I did was mix 10 milliliters of epoxy. Although that was way too much, you can definitely get away with 5 milliliters of epoxy. The same glitter that we've been using throughout this entire tumbler, I went ahead and mixed some of that into my epoxy. And then when I felt like it was well incorporated, I just poured some of that epoxy and glitter mixture on top of the section that we had base painted with our acrylic paint. You'll see in a second, I did speed this up. You'll see that I kind of like am trying to turn the tumbler and see if the epoxy and glitter will move that way. And it did a little bit, but I felt it was easier to just use my silicone tool to kind of push it around the bottom of the tumbler. If you need to add more, you can. You can always take away also if you add too much. So just keep that in mind. You can always scoop some out if you add too much. So I'm just going to use this silicone tool, pushing it around until it is flush up against the part of the tumbler that is raised a little bit, so the rim of the tumbler. You do want to make sure that you do not put too much epoxy and glitter to where it is higher than the section of your tumbler or the rim of your tumbler that's raised. If you do that, then when you go to put it on your countertop, that section will be sticking out past where your actual tumbler is, and it will create an uneven bottom, so your cup will most likely be rocking on your countertop. So we want to make sure that it's all nice and even and flush and nothing is raised past the stainless steel bottom of your tumbler. So once this is done and I feel like it's smooth, it's even around the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and torch the bubbles out of it, and then I'm just going to let it sit on a level surface on my countertop and let it dry. This is a really cute way to finish off the bottom of your cup if you do not glitter and epoxy your entire tumblers. Here is our Mother's Day Inlay tumbler. I absolutely love this design, from the beautiful floral vinyl, the gorgeous red to gold shift glitter, and we can't forget about that beautiful glitter butt. So like I said, this is for my mom, so don't y'all go and tell her. It is a surprise. I hope that this inspires y'all to make something beautiful for your mom for Mother's Day. If you like this video and it inspires you, please let me know by liking, commenting, and subscribing. It does let me know that you're getting value from the videos that I'm doing for you guys. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. I will have my Facebook group listed and linked in the description box below, so check that out, and I hope that y'all have a wonderful day. Bye!